сигарет кружится, как тезис в споре, тонкий английский лед, под ним кипящее море. Рюмка на полпальца, где-то усталая печень, но он опять рвется в зал, как будто последняя встреча. Жесткое вино разума обжигает, но будет спящих каждое слово, как выстрел в зал, и не осталось священных щелей, где бы он тихо промолчал. Где-то в Багдаде жара тонет в сарказме и прозе. Он пишет, как режет ножом, по мифам на белой бумаге. В студиях, в старых барах, в маленьких залах кампусов он ставит под роспись богов и веру сдает под авансом. Жесткое вино разума обжигает, но будет спящих каждое слово, как выстрел в зал, и не осталось священных щелей, где бы он тихо промолчал. Тело слабее, голос сипит, но шутка выходит точнее. Он поднимает стакан и говорит: поверим, кого соберет скорее. Публика держит дыхание, он не дает ей надежд, только упрямая да к сомнению и любви. И следуй смерть. Честное, но разума обжигает, но будет спящий каждое слово, как выстрел в зал, и не осталось священных щелей, где бы он тихо промолчал.
This land was made for you and me. That includes our poor and hungry. If you want to join the fight, come stand with us on the right side of history. Divided we stand, united we fall. In the belly of the beast, fighting fascists, the tyrants.
Well, isn't that a deep subject? It's Sunday. We're back to the Sunday day. And, well, maybe we'll stick with Sundays. Who knows? but not quite yet. But tonight it is Sunday, and we are going to have our show. This is Divided We Stand. If you're watching this and you're unfamiliar with this channel, we'd like to introduce ourselves. I am Brian Watson, and to your right is David Price. We are not a monetized channel on YouTube. That means that we're not asking for money. In fact, we don't want your money. We just want to commiserate with you. So if you could, we'd appreciate that you would subscribe to the channel. We do work pretty hard at this, and we're going to work even harder once I retire in 3 months. So that's something to think about.
Pardon
also.
me. I hate to interrupt. Did you say once you're retarded in 3 months? I wasn't. Is that what you said?
No, you're projecting here. Come on.
No. What did you say? Repeat it. I heard when I'm retarded in 3 months.
When I'm on pension. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So now I clarified it for this guy.
Okay. Thank you.
Here. Okay. And also, we are on Facebook. That's where our real popularity is, and that is the Facebook Divided We Stand group. So we ask that you become a member there too if you're on Facebook. We know that most young people are not on Facebook. Most young people, I suppose, are on TikTok and Instagram. But if you are young or old, doesn't matter, we ask that you become a member of our growing group. I think by the time the summer ends, we'll be at probably $2,000. We're at $1,600 right now, which is not.
Wait a
that
minute.
bad.
Whoa! Stop, Brian. We're gonna get $2,000 for doing this show. What do you? I don't
Now,
understand.
that's how much
Help
you're
me
going to
out.
put into the show, okay? Moneybags over here can put
Oh.
$2,000 in the show so we can have better lighting and such. No, but we really
You still
would
wouldn't be able to operate it.
No, well, maybe that's true, but let's just make you spend $2,000. Who the hell cares? So, all right. So again,
Wait a minute.
we are not
Stop.
Oh my
Brian.
God. Well, folks,
Listen.
that's the show tonight. We thank you for
Now,
tuning
did
in.
you say just some? Did you say that's the health care?
Healthcare. I feel like Baby Huey saying, "Boy, there's something wrong with you." Okay, something like that.
That's Foghorn Leghorn, by the way.
Oh, Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, okay. Baby Huey. Who was Baby Huey?
You're not going to tell me you don't know the difference.
I know who
between animals.
Foghorn Leghorn is. We got now. I know who Foghorn Leghorn is, and this guy is Asshorn Foghorn or Foghorn Asshorn. I don't know what it is, but he's here. In any case, yes, and I do want to know that I'm broadcasting from Bridgeton. Dave is broadcasting via Arlington, Virginia, so he's only a step away from the White House, his favorite place to drop by.
Yes,
and
it is.
Protest and such, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I joke about Dave's shoe collection, but we will not be talking about his shoe collection. We'll be talking about shoes in his favorite shoe store, Florsheim. You got to be over 75 to go to Florsheim?
There's about this much truth in what you just said, but there's
All right. Well, anyway, I have had Florsheim shoes, and they used to go up and down with their quality. They were considered like the men's shoe store, but during the 70s and the 80s, their shoes were for shit. I think they're getting better now because the better shoes are higher quality these days. So maybe not the laces, but in any case, Florsheim had to up their game, and I guess they have. So we'll sort it all out tonight.
So tonight, our top story tonight is. No, it's not. I don't
What
even
is
know.
our top story tonight? There's so many stories, Dave. I don't even know where to begin.
Now, we kind of did a little comedy, and I'll tell you why we did that. It was very little. It wasn't much comedy there. And the reason is these are very serious times. Mm-hmm. But I would recommend to everyone out there who's listening now, and to you, thank you very much for spending your Sunday night or a portion of your Sunday night with us. But these are dangerous, treacherous, stressful times. And so Sandy's already put up a question that we're going to deal with tonight. In fact, it's the first thing we're going to talk about. But what we all need to remember is we have to keep saying ourselves, yes, we have a president who is insane. There's no question about that. It does not matter why. It can be senility. It can be syphilis. It can be stupidity or any other S word you could come up with. But we know tonight when we go to bed in a few hours, that the country is being run by a man who does not have the mental capability to do much of anything other than to do things that he shouldn't be doing. Okay, that's number one. So we try to find out what's the best way to do this show. And as Brian's pointed out on a number of times, it's kind of organic. I mean, we don't plan it. We talk for
Which
a
is
minute.
better because, and Dave, I'm going to interject, but anybody who knows David and me, they got to know that we were always improvising, whether it was music or teaching. So there's no way that either one of us. I mean, we don't have a script. We could not have a script. Can't.
No, and that's not a bad thing.
No,
and it's not
not
a
for
good
us.
thing. It's going to tie into what I'm going to say now, though. We all need in our lives to figure out not who we are, the deep, what's the meaning of life question, but how are we going to get through this outside of just falling into either despondency, despair, insanity ourselves. And one of the ways to do that, I think, is to find humor is good if you can find it. It can even be sardonic. It can be gallows humor. But humor is a good way. If not, find an activity. A friend of mine has become a knitter. She said what happens with that is I just lose myself in the knitting, literally. And when I get done, I've produced something. Another thing I'm going to stress a lot, we had this conversation last night here in outside Washington, D.C., with some political folk and I. And the basic thing was, besides talking, about everything else, is what do you do to forget what is almost unforgettable, right? And that's really what you need, okay? So you need something. Another suggestion that I make constantly, and I know that a lot of people don't agree with me, and that's fine. I spent 12 years in journalism, and I stopped watching news on TV in 1976. Now, of course, in 1976, we don't have Trump. We just had Watergate. But what I was learning, I was working with these TV journalists, and they weren't bad people, but they had to tell their story in 2 minutes. And no story can be told in 2 minutes or less. Secondly, their cameraman had to get a visual that was stunning that would attract people. And the one that really turned me off to it's not fake news, it's just something they did. There was a fire that I covered, Brian, and it was a fatal fire that destroyed 5 kids' lives. Mm-hmm. Okay. House burnt. We go over there. And I'm looking there and I'm watching the cameraman for ABC News. It could have been NBC, CBS, it didn't matter, but it happened to be ABC News. And I knew the reporter who was covering it. And he was moving items to make it more photogenic. So it's always been that way. But there's a psychological reason for not watching the news. It imprints harder on your brain. If you read it, you can selectively skip passages. So, and it is more in depth, but all that. So I would suggest if the news, if you just can't take it, and I can understand why that is, I would suggest watching something else on your TV or your TV time, and then getting a news source that you believe. And over the weeks to come, we'll be talking about some of those. But we're going to introduce a new segment tonight, which I think, if it's successful, we may keep this format. We used to have a format of 3. A couple of times we used this. This is a new format of 3. What we'll do is each week I'll select the 3 things that Donald Trump has done that poses the most danger to America and the world. I'll present them. Brian will comment on them. And then we hope that you will comment on them in the comments. So, with that being said, and remember, prefacing everything that I say from this point on this show, as long as Donald Trump, maybe as long as Donald Trump is alive, but definitely as long as he's in the White House, is Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to me, to my family, to my community, to my state, to my country, to my nation, and to the world. He also, and you probably agree with this because you're here, the same applies to you. He's a clear and present danger to you and everything you hold dear. He's incapable of telling the truth. We know that. And again, it bears repeating again and again and again and again. And Brian was kind of joking about me going to the White House. I do go there frequently outside. I mean, I've only been in it. I've been here 15 years. I've been in the White House 4 times, and never with Trump there. But the thing that hits me every single time, Brian, every single time, I walk up through Lafayette Park. I usually come on that side, getting off the metro, and I look and I say, in that building, there's a man with the nuclear codes and the nuclear button.
Right.
Are you looking for the nuclear codes now, Brian?
Yeah, sort of. No, I was just looking for something. I'm okay. I'm okay. I get real crazy when I'm missing something. No, I'm good.
Well,
I see it. We're good. We're good.
Oh my God!
I have
You know what's
ADHD. I'm sorry.
You do.
Do you want to know the truth? What I was looking for?
Probably your colored photo of Melania. I don't.
No,
What?
No, what happened was, I have 2 cars. One I'm going to sell, but I let it go too far during the winter. In a couple of weeks, I didn't start it, and it went out, so I have to jump it. And I got these, this portable jumper, so I don't have to connect them to other cars. And then I just got it today, and I always lose shit. And already I couldn't find the jumpers, but I had it right over here, and I was going nuts. Like,
we will do a full show, ladies and gentlemen. If you could send in how we can help Brian become normal. Now, it'll probably be an extended show. Maybe we'll start it on Sunday in, say, June. He retires then, so say it's his first Sunday after June, and it'll probably conclude in 4 or 5 years. But anyway, we don't have time for that today.
Sorry about that. I had to get that out of my system.
I know.
I'm bad with that shit. I apologize.
You are.
That's bad.
Now, you don't have to apologize. As I was saying, every time, I walk up on the White House through Lafayette Park Square, which now is being moved back and back and back. Eventually, it'll be K Street or something, as close as you can get. I just really do think you have to think for a moment. You pause, you look, and there's an insane man in there with the nuclear codes and the nuclear button. And that's not being overly graphic. It's just being where it is. And the other overriding problem, Brian, with America right now, you cannot believe a thing, not a single thing.
Right. You cannot believe a video. You can't believe it's Britain. Nothing.
Nothing. And it's only going to get worse. But let's go to what is really bad right now. And clearly, everybody watching tonight or watching on tape later knows that the war with Iran was not a 2-day air war. It is escalating. There's no question about that. Trump, in this war says, somebody totaled it up, and I believe, Brian, he said, what was it? 7 times the war has been resolved.
And that's where things get, when he gets his fingers on anything, even if let's suppose it was another thing like 1979, he's the wrong person for dealing with Iran. Nobody here likes Iran, at least nobody that I know, sane person I know. But on the other hand, the problem is that the way he handles things is you just know he's going to fuck it up. He is fucking it up. He is fucking it up already. While he's doing all the other things that he's fucking up.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And the other thing is, of course,
because he doesn't want to lose. I get that because he's got an ego, but either does Iran.
Well, you know how he couldn't have lost? Don't start the damn thing.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying now he's got to go in, all the way, or he's got to try to pull out. But he knows if he pulls out, he can declare victory. But he knows the way that part of the world will declare victory, so he won't give in.
Brian, you bring up a very interesting point. So I'm going to turn it back to you.
Because they do the same thing with a victory. They lie.
Right. Every time I kind of direct a question to Brian, I'm also directing it to those listening. So we'd love to have your response from it. But what to you, Brian, would constitute a victory in Iran?
Well, I think it's kind of obvious. A victory would mean a complete overthrow of the government and then democratic forces take over. That would be a victory. I don't know how you do it. I don't care what happens, whether it's through boots on the ground or no boots on the ground or no more anything. If you can get regime change and you get some type of democratic government, I can live with that.
Did you notice what you said? You said 2 conditions, right? You said a regime change,
right,
and a democratic government.
Right, because even if you have a regime change, you may not get what you want. Because Trump would probably not want a democratic victory.
Let's look at where we are on that. And I agree. I think that's a very good definition.
Because again, I think, Dave, you should clarify. We are
Go
not
ahead.
supporters of the theocratic government of Iran. They are just, religious lunatics.
No, but I am a supporter of the Iranian people as people.
Well, who wouldn't be? I mean, look. I mean, as long as they're not, siding with the government, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, they're okay. It's like in America. I don't no longer say I like all Americans. I don't like those.
Right. You don't like the
Trump.
Trumpers, and
Same
we
thing in
like
Iran.
each other. Right.
I don't like the
Same thing.
terrorists. I don't
Same
like,
thing.
Yeah,
Okay. Not a problem.
Same thing.
But I just didn't
So-
want to give any kudos to that cleric.
No,
over
I
there,
I
these
agree.
clerics.
So let's take your definition, which I'm going to say is good.
Regime change and some type of
Let's look-
of democracy.
And we're going to work on both of those singularly. All right. So regime change. So what happens in the early days? I don't know if it's day 1 or day 2. We bomb and we take out the Iranian leader. Okay. So there's part of it. They got to have a regime change now. All right. Have to. The guy's dead unless he's going to come back from the dead.
Well, there has to be
gotta have a-
somebody that takes over. Number one, we know that they
Well,
can't have
that's
a
what I'm saying.
leaderless government.
Now here's from Donald Trump's own mouth. This is kind of the way he did it. Oops. Oh man, we had 4 people in mind, but God darn it, we killed them with bombs too. Now think about that. That's either a lie, they had nobody in mind, or they did bomb the 4 people that they thought might be able to take over and provide the second part, which is the most important part of what you said, is a democracy. So we're already behind that. Now, it should be no surprise to them, and if it is, oh, heaven help us, is the son of the former leader is now running Iran. From all indications, he's 100 times worse than his father. So we accomplished bringing a worse figure into Iran than we had prior to that bombing. If that is indeed true, and now what happens, Brian? How do you even? And you're speaking not for you. It's how do we get to this democracy? Is what we really need. And my question to you is this: do you believe that a long-standing democracy, given the history and culture of the Middle East, is doable? Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: aside from Israel, any democracy that has arisen from the Middle East has had American support, and they haven't had any problem. Well, you can't look. Lebanon had opportunity, but there were too many infiltrations of Hezbollah and the Iranians. So, just by the nature of the religiousness of this area, it's a lunatic. I mean, I wish the Middle East didn't exist completely. I don't
Okay. And
like
look at
fanaticism
what you
of
said.
any religion.
I know, but I mean, look at it.
No, it's not going
Do
to. I think where you're going is it'd be very unlikely that a democracy would come up.
That can be substantiated, right?
Right.
Look at Iraq, look at Afghanistan, look at
Even
Syria.
the countries
Look-
that we get along with, Saudi Arabia. I mean, who the fuck would
look. Saudi Arabia has gotten oligarchy down to a science, and it's actually inherited.
chainsaws, too.
oligarchy. Well, there's all that. So you've said before, and I think it's very important. I think sometimes it's underrated. Is that the whole entire Middle East? We're going to exempt Israel for a moment, but is really a version of
mess.
theocracy.
And you know what?
Well,
It's almost better that with climate change, it's going to be unlivable anyway in 100 years, unless somebody does something.
And there's 2 more things I want to point out. This war, Trump can say whatever it is. It was about 2 things, no question in my mind. And why I'm not reading 1, 2 as number 1, number 2, just 2 things. One is it was a wag the dog to keep talk of the Epstein files off the airways and out of
And the oil companies certainly liked what he was doing too. They really
and
did.
that's going to be the next thing. Every action that the United States.
I think those are the
takes-
two biggest things that started this war: is the Epstein
Right.
files and the fucking oil. That's, I mean, I'm sure there are other reasons. We could say that
No,
we have these
there-
religious
Brian-
clerks or kooks, and they are, but it's just
No.
why now? And now you have this
Because-
Epstein thing.
Right. No, I would agree. I'm 100% agreeable in that. But then think about this, Brian. I think sometimes we fail to think about this. We really should be running away from oil as a basis. not grabbing
Absolutely,
it, because that-
absolutely. Here.
people like Sandy and others. I'm just singling her out because she has a really good show, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know about it, but many with Donald Trump there, we're actually maybe the worst abuser of the environment in the world currently right now.
Yes.
China's moving in different directions.
Right.
Russia is moving in different directions.
Well, Russia.
And we're
let's not put them in there. Let's not put them in there.
yeah, they're there. They're
He's
ahead of
still
us.
all oil. He's behind it.
Well, for money.
They're not, believe me, they're
I'll-
not into the solar thing. Let's give China the due. Just give them the due.
Okay,
Don't
China.
give Russia any due. They give nothing. They don't deserve
Okay.
it, Dave. Assholes.
Okay, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
The idea is though, so if you really isolate and accept because we are agreeing on this definition, we went to war with Iran over the Epstein files, keeping them out of the news, and global interests, of Americans getting oil. Okay, so that would be a plan, right? I mean, it would be a plan, and I'm saying it's a good one. So let's look at their plan. Is it keeping Epstein out of the news? Yes, but not completely. There's still stories every day. That is not going away. The Epstein story is going to get worse. Trust me. There's things out there that we haven't seen
Yeah, but
yet.
are
It's
people
not
going to
gonna-
get used to it? Yeah, this is what bothers me.
No, they're not. I'll tell you why they're not. Everybody who's used to it is used to it now. None of us we're not going to let people get used to it who aren't used to it now.
But I mean, are Republicans going to actually say, I'm going to turn my back to, if Trump, raped a 12-year-old? I'm just,
Yes,
speculating.
maybe.
Where would they go?
But remember,
I don't know.
everybody,
They would care.
Brian, you don't need them all. You just need a portion. This idea of winning hearts. We're never.
No, I know
don't
what you're
even want their
saying, but they're
hearts.
going to cheat anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean,
Stop. One step at a time, Brian. We're
Okay.
talking about the war. We had to do this last night 42 times with this group I was with because everybody's jumping ahead.
gotcha.
Right? So in this
We
war,
can understand why.
well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't get you anywhere.
You said yourself, it's just destroying all of us, this whole thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't get you anywhere. So we're focused on the war.
Right, because there are other things besides the war. We could look at the FCC and all that shit. So it's-
Not denying that. So what happens is this. Yes, I suppose limited success in keeping Epstein out, but it's not going to be forever. There's new things coming.
Right, but how do you
What-
implement? Okay, let's speculate. They've got new things come up.
question.
Who's going to do something, move and shake things?
It's
The
already
Democrats
happened.
haven't done it very well. They just talk about it, and that's fine, but they can't
But-
do
but
anything.
Okay. Again, you're living right now, right?
Yeah.
You're alive. Is that correct?
frustrated, but yeah, I'm alive.
Yeah. Okay. And it's the time I say to say this, you could die. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right. So you got that. You got that. But that moment, second before you die, you may have, it'll become very important to you, what I do wrong, how to live. We're going to get a couple of those moments. Why do I say that? There's growing evidence, if pollsters are anywhere near accurate, that women are not deserting in droves, but they are deserting the MAGA. They're saying that the men
I can accept
don't
that.
care about the.
I can accept that. I can, yes.
Okay.
There's enough, whatever movement, there's enough.
There's votes. Now look at who's speaking out. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I'm not saying they're good people. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
But didn't you, in
Lauren
her
Bolt-
district, didn't a Trumper win just a few days ago?
It doesn't matter.
I agree. It doesn't matter.
No. Well, there are certain districts. it
I'm not
wouldn't
going
matter.
against you, Dave.
could-
I'm just saying.
No, I know you're not.
You sound
Well,
slightly
there's a-
optimistic.
Well, yeah, I am in a sense. It's the only way. Everything else is
And
on
by the way, that
fire,
was the
and this-
point. Yeah, Ronnie and I were just talking about that this past weekend. Citizens United, that kind of started the whole fucking thing.
Well,
No, we
and
don't want to.
again,
Okay, we'll stick
can
with the
do
war.
what
We'll stick with the war.
Yes. All right. So let's get to that war. Now, if you were going for the oil, right? There are military people who have said, and no senators who are on military groups that said there is no way you will secure the oil without sending ground forces in. No way. You cannot bomb the oil. All you can do is destroy the oil by bombing.
Which he
what's
might
already.
would have been the Karg Island or Karg.
Then
whatever.
okay. Well, okay. Then how does that? We get back to his plan. If he had one, that's defeating the plan.
Yeah, I
You know, I'm
don't.
not gonna-
I don't argue in that. This will.
No.
This is where it's going to get
So-
bad. Dumb people
and
do
this is-
dumb shit.
This that's true.
By
And this is where it
definition.
really gets bad. If you take the Strait of Hormuz, right? They now have that shut down, pretty much. Now they're both sides are crazy, and we don't know the truth. If indeed this is true, and it's been reported that they've mined the straits,
Which
there's
is likely.
no way.
Which is likely.
I would do it. I would absolutely.
In their position, yeah, they would do it. Yes.
Because guess what? They have the oil. I mean, if oil's important, they have it. It's there.
Well, it's
We've got
leverage. It's leverage. Just the fact that you do
Right.
that, it's leverage.
But now they're,
Because they can't win a war against us. I mean, you and I agree on that. I mean, in terms of an actual
And
head-to-head
I will
war,
say
they
something,
cannot.
I almost wish we did have assured mutual destruction, and I'll come back to that later. So in the war, even if you had this plan, you were, I guess the easiest way to say it. You mentioned, at Korg Island, you are fucked beyond belief if you were Donald Trump, because if you had a plan, it's gone. All right. If you didn't have a plan, you should have done it in the first place, but now you're there. And now he is trapped.
Anyways, he's going to
he's
listen
gonna
to his military advisors. He can listen to Hegseth. He's not going to listen to Hegseth.
No, he doesn't. Did you see? He revealed who he what was it? He listened to his son and somebody else. That he said that. That's why I went.
Don Jr.
Yeah, Don Jr. and another one of his, not one of the big guys, one of the other. So, but again, we don't know. He's talking. He's probably lying. So I would say, when we talk about the war, why I put it number one right now, it is escalating. And while Iran cannot nuke us.
But in what way?
so
I mean,
you-
Dave, look, it's been, 3 weeks now, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm already getting used to the same story. Like, I'm not even watching the news every day or reading the news every day,
Well, you don't have
in
to.
depth. I'm starting to lose it too, and
But wait,
I don't know.
Let me time out, Brian. The only way you're going to lose it, the only way any of us are going to lose it, is if you wake up tomorrow morning and say, I was wrong, I'm going with Donald Trump, I'm going to do everything I can to help him. That's the only loss. That's it. For you personally, for any of us personally. The second thing is we have to recognize that we alone cannot stop.
now this
change.
may
We're not-
destroy Trump, which might be a good thing. I mean, that's a weird way to say, like,
And there you are. And there you are. Everything the man has done, pretty much in the second term. We're not talking about his first term. We're not talking about the election itself, which may or may have not been legit. We're talking about since he got into office in January a year ago, nothing that man has done has gained him one follower.
everything
What
he's
we-
done is turned to shit.
But people are, look,
But
we made a couple.
But he has
Go ahead.
solidified things, Dave. As I said, like the Russian system, take control of the military, get your right people there, get the right people here, get the Supreme Court, and then
That's-
you got again. I don't want to keep moving into the FCC. We got Brendan Carr. He's going to try to
I know we
use
have all
his
of that.
leverage to quash
All right.
any type of.
Let me ask you something. If what happened to Jimmy Kimmel had happened to him in Russia, would he have been a success? And no, he wouldn't. Russians would have crushed him.
Never a chance. Never a chance.
He wouldn't even gotten as far. Stephen Colbert, would he still have a voice? Absolutely not.
Right. It's a lot tougher for Trump
Now,
than it is
you
for Putin.
you are, as I said, you are as knowledgeable or more knowledgeable than anyone I know in Russian, given your background.
Right.
But I will say this: I think sometimes you underestimate the fact that Russia has never been a democracy and has no taste for it. And America has always at least thought they were democracy. And I think that does make a difference. in the
It
end.
does.
I really
It
do.
absolutely does. My only fear is this, Dave, is he has
Go ahead.
been, and you have to say this is true. He has been successful at, tearing away any type of, competition to go against him, whether it's in business or in government. He is slowly eroding any type of power that we have.
But
And
every day
therein lies the danger.
Every day. So, Brian, you and I kind of right here. Not we're arguing with one another.
No, we're not arguing. We are,
Because-
folks,
no,
we're not arguing.
What I'm saying is,
here.
one thing you could be right, and these things tearing away, it builds. I think sometimes it's going to get. If he had better leaders, around him, he wouldn't have gone to Iran. He wouldn't.
Right. I mean, they're all ignorant. I
And
mean,
so they're going to make some mistakes. I mean, who in their right mind thinks they're going to spend $200 million on a commercial of them on a mountain and think that's going to be acceptable after you've already killed a dog and you're fucking your
Right.
boyfriend who's not your husband on a bed on a jet? How many beds have you seen on jets in your lifetime?
I've never seen I've barely seen a bed on I've seen it on a train, but it's not really a bed. It's more like a
You know why? None of us move in those circles. So people are looking at that, and you know what that bed screamed? That bed screamed, my fucking money is paying for that bed. That's what it screamed to people. Now, so you got to decide. Donald Trump had to okay it. Well, maybe he didn't. Maybe, you got to make excuses that really get outlandish now. Because of what Trump's doing, it's harder and harder. 2 pledges he gave, and I've talked to a lot of, not since this, but before this, 2 pledges that a lot of people believed in. He was going to clean up the swamp and get to the Democratic pedophiles. Okay? And secondly, he was a president of peace. He was not a president of war. And they're now facing the reality. They have to face this every day when they get up. That president lied to me. I voted based on that. Is my hatred for whatever group I hate still strong enough
Yes.
for me to understand?
That's where I would speculate. I'd say yes.
And
That's how much they hate you and they hate me.
That's the question.
Check some of the comments out on some of our previous videos, by the way, Dave, and you'll see.
Oh, I know.
And as small as our channel is, you've got most of the commentary is negative. And I just saw some more today. I don't look at it until
I don't.
2
I
years
read
later.
it. I read it myself. Yeah. But the idea of it is what I'm saying is, how do we do this? Last night, there were a number of us together, and one was a really good psychologist. It's always good to have a good psychologist in the group. And so we could ask her, her take on the mental conditions and all that. And all she wanted to say, and I understand this, yeah, but what do we do? Yeah, but what do we do? And everybody's saying that. And finally I said, okay, if it gets this bad, each of us have to ask this question, Brian. If it gets this bad and it's not there yet, and none of us know the future, because she kept saying, don't you have a crystal ball? No, I don't have a crystal ball. I look at it and try to speculate as best I can. Are you willing to rush in a wave to the White House, unarmed or armed, whatever, to take over the White House? And that we may get to that point.
Okay. You mentioned this woman who's a psychiatrist or whatever.
Psychologist.
Psychologist. Well, it reminds me of The Sopranos, where Tony Soprano had this psychiatrist, but she was frightened of him. She knew it was wrong with him, but she herself had to deal with her own psychology.
And
she was the one who was tormented more than he was.
Yeah. No. Well, look.
I'm not saying that particular one, but this is the situation we're in.
No. Oh, I mean,
you said yourself, he's got his finger on the button.
Another gentleman there had served in the press and the government for he's 85 now. So when he was 20, what's that, 45 years maybe, right? Going back and forth, expert. And he just says, basically, we're fucked, And I mean, I understand that. But even if you're fucked, you still got to try to fight back and hope and slip. And it's not, you and I disagree on our kind of thing with hope. I think we disagree on this. You kind of think of hope as a thing that I can win. I just kind of think that hope is no matter what, I'm going to do it and go down fighting. And that's just the way it is. I don't expect a victory. We shouldn't expect a victory. We should expect to do what's right, and we go to our death No.
Well, that's the
He did
Mario
what was right.
Savio mentality, and I agree with it. But you have to get when you see everybody's got a breaking point where you say, okay, fuck it.
Right.
I mean, if you had stage 4 cancer, it kind of makes the decision for you because you got nothing to lose.
I don't.
But if you're
I-
15 years old, you might say, maybe I'll sit this one out on the bench for a while and let somebody else fight.
Well, I think that's true. But with Trump, eventually he'll get to you. That's my point. Eventually he will get to you, meaning you have to make a decision. Am I with him or am I against him? I'll do just some examples. He promised peace. My son is now going, they're talking about a universal draft. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think you do a universal draft if you weren't considering expanding the conflict. I don't get what that would be other than that. There might be some,
And how do you all of a sudden how do you pull it off in the United States into this situation? These young kids,
Well,
they don't listen to orders.
yeah, well, and that's part of it.
They put their
Because if
phones
you
away.
talk to anyone, and fortunately where I live, I get to talk to quite a few people in the Pentagon, they said this is the best American military has ever been in terms of people wanting to be there, right? In other words, because it's a choice. You're not forced. You go, it's a choice.
Okay, I get
Once
that
you-
part, right. But I'm
once
sure a
you-
lot of
once you
people
start-
don't want to go into the military because of.
And they
Although
don't
some
have
kids,
to
I'm
now.
gonna be frank. If I can just kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent. We have the ROTC at Bridgeton,
Right.
and I see all these kids getting involved, and I'll hear kids talk to each other, not to me, saying, yeah, I think
Right.
I want to go into the Army, and it's because they don't understand the politics of the world and what's going on, that they just think of it as, everything's cool.
Well, also, also, and I say this too, for some people, the Army can be marvelous.
right.
it can
Especially if you
provide
got no
things-
future ahead of you.
And that's part of the clientele that you and I dealt with in Bridgeton.
You learn discipline.
really don't have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. I fought the ROTC when it was put in. I did not think it was
And most
wise
high
for
schools
Bridgeton.
did. They didn't cherry
And
other
I was
boys.
I was completely wrong. It's part because of the person who ran it, Sergeant Lennon, but also because
Well, he's watching tonight, I think.
Is he
I think
good?
he told me he's watching tonight. So,
Okay, so Sergeant, if you're out there, you did a good job.
I don't know if he's
And you
watching right
continue
now,
to
but
do.
he did say he's definitely watching it.
So again, you've got that. All right. So let's sum up the war this way. It's bad now. It appears it will get worse. And you have a madman running it. None of that is good. And everybody would be a fool. Last night that came up because remember everybody in that room, they were saying they were having dinner. Everybody in that room, again, to put it in perspective, we were located in our community. So we were 1.9 miles from the Pentagon and 4.6 miles from the White House. We won't even see the flash if it came, if the nuclear war comes. Now, let's get to one last thing before we leave this. To me, is extremely frightening. So the other day, 3 days ago, I don't know, whatever, Judy and I were walking here in town. I said, man, you know what, hon? I said, I hope I'm wrong. I don't even know. I never even thought I would say this. And I was referring to the FBI warning that California was facing threats from drones in Iran. You do realize that that's been proven. There were no threats.
I didn't even say they
None.
can't reach from there right now.
No. But there were, first, let's start there. There were no threats. So the FBI lied to upset. The only reason is to upset California and the people. Now, why would they want to do that? Trump realizes right now that Newsom is not his friend, and California is not going to ever vote Republican. Nobody stopped him to say, remember, he doesn't do things logically. So, and you just brought up the killer right there. They cannot attack us. They have no basis to get from there to the United States with anything nuclear, except if they had subs, they could do it. They do have ships, but we know where they are.
And you know where the subs are for the most part anyway.
And you do. I don't even know if they have them, actually, to be honest with you. But there's no way. So
If they do,
you've
they
got a
probably
whole-
couldn't even get here, to be honest with you.
You've got a whole state, even more intense. I mean, Washington, D.C., we live with that all the time. I'm not saying, we're hard. I mean, we just know that. We choose to live here because of it, or in spite of it, I should say, because of it. So now, but you know what I said to Jude? I said, you know what? I never thought I would say this about my own government, but it would not surprise me if Trump set a drone or two in there.
Yeah, well, he
Just
doesn't
sort
like
of.
democratic states. He's already said that he would cut funds off
That's
for
what I'm
this
saying.
and for that. Why
So
wouldn't he do it?
if you told me even 17 years ago, I'd have said you're absolutely insane, Dave Price.
Right.
And now it's a very sane kind of look. Let's go to what I think is number 2, and this you touched upon already, and this is, I'm going to call it the Brian Weinstein was right position. You've been right since the first day on this, and you have. The push for a stricter national voter ID law. He's still doing that. He's doing it every day. And now he is threatening, I don't know if you saw, he's threatening Congress. If they don't do it, he will destroy them, is basically what he's saying.
And you
Okay.
better believe him, because these are the things that he says he's going to do.
Well,
he will do.
Yeah, if he can. I mean, I don't know. But yes. So what happens is, and people don't read them. One of the most shocking things that I found out when I came here is that, and this is horrible. A, the bills are too big in Congress. There are bills that are 12,000 pages. What's that? Because and congressmen say, "Oh, I didn't read it," or they say, "Oh, my aide read it." And, so we've got that going. So I haven't even read it. But one of the things in there, do you know that your wife will not be able to vote?
Yeah, because the change of name and all that kind of shit.
You change the name. It's directed at. Do you know also, ladies and gentlemen and peoples, that Pete Hegseth, who is our war cheerleader,
to vote for Democrats. So.
Is our war cheerleader who wears mascara and has his TV studio or has his makeup studio in the Pentagon. His minister in Washington D.C. and I'm going to go to. I was trying to get there today and I couldn't. I want to go to one of his services. He actually preaches from the pulpit that women have no right to vote, and that's where Hegseth goes to church. And Hegseth also passed on to his commanders that he's going to play some of them that. And they had the troops, and thank God some of the troops blew the whistle on him. The rallying cry was this, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, or just saying, basically, gentlemen, you are called by God to a holy war. This war is destined and predetermined by God. We will bring on the wonder of the Revelation and the Apocalypse, and you are doing God's work. It's basically what he said. Yeah, okay. Jerk me off. Now, so you got all that going on with this voter law. So the thing would be, well, let's start here, Brian. Do you think you should have an ID to vote?
It depends on what type of. I mean, if you have a driver's license, it should be enough. We never had a problem before, okay? Just don't make it impossible.
You said it yourself. Donald Trump cannot win fairly. Okay, so yeah. I would say that you should and I don't actually know how you would do this, but you could maybe
He's
at
going to do it
18
in Georgia and in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. He's going to do that. He doesn't have to do it in all the states. He's just going to do it in those states.
Au contraire, my friend. There may be a problem with that. We know we don't trust the Supreme Court, but it's pretty clear in the Constitution that states run their elections, not the federal government.
Oh, I agree with you.
So, and I know he disregards. I'm just saying, but we don't know. We've seen the crazy court.
He has
side
immunity
against
to
him.
do anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean he has immunity. That means he can't be prosecuted for it. It doesn't mean he can't be stopped.
Well, I don't see anybody stopping him yet.
Yet, you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
You tell me when they get him. I'm not telling you
I'm
mean.
just
I don't think this is not happening.
Okay.
Evil is
You don't
definitely
think-
winning right now.
You don't think women, if they're denied the vote, will rise up and do something?
They'll rise up, but it's not going to be enough any more than it wasn't for. I mean, I'm telling you, this. There are plenty of people who don't like bullshit. Well, in Russia, it's crazy. You know what, Dave, I wish I could tell you something more uplifting and be able to agree with you.
I don't care about uplifting. I'm just telling you they will do.
We do not know how far
Do you
evil
think?
will go.
Okay. And we never have. Okay. And I don't care if you believe in the bullshit of the Bible or you believe that whatever evil is or it's inherent or whatever. I don't care. But this battle of good and evil has gone on since the beginning of the first
Well,
humans.
let's just go with my definition. But I've always said it's really the difference.
Right.
Usually, it's the battle between smart and dumb. We always say evil evil and good in terms of religious overtones. But you know how much I
Right.
hate religion. I just absolutely hate.
Right.
If you're fucking religious, man, I got a problem with you. And the more religious you are, the more religious the country is. I got a real problem. I want to see atheists.
And see, that's another place where you and I differ. I think just like there are good and bad peaches in a field.
I'm not saying there isn't
are
a good Christian or Jew or Muslim. I'm just talking about it doesn't
I
lead to
understand.
anything good when you start thinking kook
No,
shit.
I would. Here's what it is. Yes, but when it doesn't lead to good, it's when it's collective. So in other words, that's the problem. You get into groupthink and that kind of mentality. If you want to believe in a religion, and to me, that's fine if you demonstrate you are doing what the religion says. And yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna convince anybody to be anything. And I don't. To be honest with you, Brian, I don't care personally. I really don't.
Right, I understand
I'm
that,
just-
but you see,
I'm just
you
saying,
like
I don't
myself would say, I don't mind if you practice your religion, just as long as you preach it to your toes. Don't start coming at me
And that's-
because you're
and
a
that's where-
frustrated person. You see
and
somebody
that-
else having a good time.
And you don't think there are Christians or Muslims or Jews who do that? Just practice their religion and not try to put it on you?
I think you're right, but the numbers are so great on the other side
Not
that
Not interested in the numbers.
well, I am
Just
because
say-
it makes my because they're so powerful. The religious ones, whether it's in Israel, whether
And
it's
why-
Christianity
why-
in the United States, and certainly in the
and
Middle
why-
East with Muslim countries.
Why, Brian, are they so powerful? I don't disagree. Why?
Because they're the ones with the guns. Okay, they're the ones with the leverage. They're the ones who have the money behind.
There you are. That's really the key. Okay, forget the guns. Yeah, but it's the money. And America has always been an oligarchic society. We pretend to be a republic. We pretend to be a democracy.
So why
we
are
were
you
tainted
optimistic that we're going to stop this fucker?
because he's only one man.
I don't know, Dave. I mean, you yourself know. I mean, stupid people, and then
All right, let's do it this way. You do not think tonight.
And I'm still with
will
you,
you
Dave.
start-
Don't, and everybody, remember,
No.
Yeah, I'm with you,
it's
Dave.
fine.
You know, I just
we come from differing angles.
nuance.
But here's what I'm saying. According to Donald Trump,
Because I'm
and again, we
much
can't-
more anti-religious than you are. You are anti-religious.
Oh,
to a
absolutely,
certain
and
degree.
that's fine.
I
and
am
that's fine.
very
And you know that-
anti-religious.
You know that I'm not a joiner, so I'm not. But I don't. Again, I don't want to put my views on them, other than do what you say, do what your religion does, and I'm fine with you. Don't come into like you say. Now, Donald Trump has reported himself that there are 1,700 Iranian sleeper cells in the United States.
There might be, but
Now-
now, and that makes
We-
it worse
well-
because you don't know what they're going to do. Now we're in trouble.
Well, we are, because we have 22-year-old kids running the anti-terrorist group. You got Kash Patel. Oh, my eyes.
I say it's a phantasmagoria. It's just fucking crazy now because there's so many crazies on each side that now there's no way around it. And it, like you said, it escalates. It's not even so much the
And-
wars; it's the
my
escalation
point-
of mentality.
My point was, Donald Trump, the Iranian government, will do with the terrorist cells, will do everything it can
Absolutely,
to take Trump
they don't
off
care
the
about
planet.
your life or my life. They will do it, and
They will
we'll
do it.
suffer.
And we got into another debate last night, which was interesting, and I was on the losing end of that, but I thought it was interesting. I said it would be much better to, rather than have a botched attempt on Trump, which it's not easy to assassinate a president. Let's not kid ourselves.
And I don't
It's really
want
not.
anybody to assassinate him. I'm not into
Well,
that kind of thing.
I do. Okay, I'm fine with that.
No,
don't care about it.
I would just rather him, on his own accord,
rather-
choke on a burger or
Well, that's it. But here's the thing. So I said, one of my more kind of fears. It's not a 9/11, although that we won't talk about tonight simply because it would deserve too much time. But I was thinking, like, could you imagine what a terrorist attack with some kind of nuclear weapon on Disney World on spring break would do to America's psyche? What about, I mean, there's other targets
What
too.
would it do to travel? I mean,
Well, travel already is getting whacked. I don't know if you saw they said they came out again today, increased travel advisories, which is danger. But just going to the airport, we're fortunate here. The airport is 49 seconds from our house by metro. But in Louisiana, I don't know if you saw the line. It went all the way to the parking lot. Philadelphia, where I used to fly out of, and where you would fly out of, they actually closed Terminal C because they didn't have enough, TSA people. So yeah, flying is not.
I want to work. You're not getting paid. That's called slavery.
I agree. And why they're not getting paid is politics, and why they're getting politics is because we don't have a good political system. Wow. All right. The last thing we'll go out with, and of course, I chose it not because I'm a journalist, but I think it is a threat. There's a reporter who, if you're not reading her, I would suggest you do. Maggie Haberman from the New York Times. She is really good.
Yes.
And Trump now calls her Maggot Hagerman.
Yeah, it's like saying new scum, and like just the dumbest shit.
Yeah. I thought that went out with middle school, but he's
well, that's what it is. We got middle schoolers in control. That's exactly what it is, Dave.
That's exactly what it is. And but anyway, what I would urge everyone to look at, and we're going to have to solve this. And there's two factors to it. One is political. The other is financial. We can do nothing about the financial. We cannot. Anybody thinks they can is absolutely crazy unless they have enough money to buy a news organization. But if you look now, CBS, the New York Times is
CNN. They're slowly losing.
Fox News, we know. OAN. It goes on and on and on. Now, the New York Times has always been the paper of record, and it is the finest paper because it had the most money. Because the Washington Post actually had better writers, and they were centered in. They were centered here. Right. Now they're decimated. I mean, the Washington Post, the Bridgeton Evening News, at its prime, if we had 6 reporters, would be the equal. I mean, they're just decimated. Bezos has just decimated it. But having said this idea of a free press. Yes, I understand that. I will say to you, be careful of anything you read or see. Not because reporters also fall victim. I've done it. I'm sure it's there, and it's not. I mean, things sound like they are, but this Trump's attacks on the press, unfortunately, they are succeeding as an intimidation, right. And that gets really, really, really dangerous because when you have to say things like this, and I do say them, when you have to say The Guardian, which is published from England, or Al Jazeera is giving better and fair news coverage.
I don't trust them either. I don't trust any news. I think you just have to go. Okay, I don't know where you go.
I'm not arguing. Yeah, I understand that. So how do you determine? I mean, and then again, you're speaking for.
You're right at the beginning of the show. You can't trust any organization right now.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So what? How do you? That's we got to solve that. How do we do that?
Well, right now you have to move away from any of the news outlets and just go on to YouTube and find something that you think you can trust. I don't even know if you can. Maybe just go to Dubai We Stand. I don't know. I mean, Midas Touch.
My only argument, I think I would disagree with you that from a journalistic standpoint, just because that's kind of how we got in this. Because people who watch the YouTube video,
right, and it got taken out of control. Right. I don't know. I have no answer for that.
Yeah, I don't. I don't either, Brian. I hope that there are very bright people somewhere trying to figure that out. Because I do know this. Donald Trump does not recognize the truth, does not care about the truth, does not speak the truth. And I said last night, and I'll say it again, I do a kind of visual. I said, I really think, I'm not covering my face, I'm just putting it like, 6 his world ends 6 inches around him.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about anything else at all. Anything at all. And I'll leave with this. After all this, you know what I want to know? So, Donald, if you're listening, I read another article today. Are you really fucking Laura Loomer? Is that, I mean, that's where we are. I mean, even the stuff like that, who cares? Well, I'll tell you who cares. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. They all want to be the queen of this. And Brian, here's the one reason I think I am more optimistic this week than I was last week, even though the nuclear war threat is closer. I don't disagree with that. And that's why I feel this way. They are so friggin' incompetent. They are so buffoonish buffoon-like. They are so brain-addled
Right.
that. And last night, a largest portion of the conversation was who succeeds Trump. And I will say this: there's not a person in America who will succeed with the power he came into the office with. Not a person. I'm saying on the Republican side.
Thankfully.
But then we get to what you said. That presupposes that we have a country, that we have a vote in 2028. So I think the real direction has to be for individuals is to find a group that's going to work to keep the vote secure and contribute what you think you can contribute to them. If you ask me, well, it's nice to protest. Good. I do it all the time, right? But the most effective thing right now is to marshal our efforts to make sure that there is an election in 2028. And why do I say this? 21 elections, right? Since Trump has been in office, 18 went Democratic, 3 went Republican. That kind of indicates that we can get this blue wave if we can get people to the polls and vote, and if they're not intimidated, or if the polls are open, or if he hasn't attacked California claiming now, so all that's there. So I'm not saying, and remember, Brian, I'm not trying to make you more optimistic. I think, in all honesty, looking at it, you claim you're pessimistic. I don't think so. I think you're realistic. I just think maybe because I'm here, maybe because I was a reporter, I'm not better than, maybe, and I'm not using, I'm not using the biblical, and this too shall pass. Not everything passes, and not everything passes while you're there. And don't you think for a moment, when I heard about that draft, I'm going, shit, I got a 16-year-old grandson. And what if, and I suppose the only good thing is
a Republican state, and they make sure they'll keep on top.
No. So, I mean, that's it. So let's go back to an old thing we used to do. We haven't done it for a couple shows. And what we do, for anybody who's new to the show, we end it this way. And Brian usually goes first. More optimistic than you were Sunday night or Saturday night or whatever night we do the show than last time, or less. Brian, where do you stand?
It's the same old Dave. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to.
Don't be sorry.
I think that it's, as long as he's president, there's no reason for anybody to be optimistic. That's my opinion.
And I think that you're right, but I think there's ways that we can help assure maybe that he's not president. And I'm not talking about, like I said, I'm not talking about rushing the White House and killing him. We can play that game one week if we want to. We get more people.
That's where we lose. Would you do that? That's would Donald Trump? I don't want to see that. I mean, why would I ignore to defend what I would ignore? Why would I ignore what I defend?
Well, you know what? For the first time, I'm starting to think I would take him out.
I would not.
But in this case, you're right. You can't do that. Not and believe as I do. But is it so? The other thing I like to pass along to people again listening, and thank you as we always do. But also, if you could let us know some way, I don't know if you could say on the page, we're really debating back and forth, and there's no right or wrong call on this. Is Saturday night better or is Sunday night better? Now, right now, Saturday is better for Brian, and the reason it's better for Brian is he goes to school on Monday. Sunday is better for me because last night, as I said, I rarely have anything on Sunday, but it doesn't mean that I can't do it on Saturday, but there'll be times. But what I'd like to know is it doesn't matter, Brian, really about you or I. It matters about when more people are available. And so that's why I think, for the people listening, Joey, Sandy, Kim, anybody else who's out there tonight, let us know that. And next week, Brian, our new wrinkle next week, I think we got to be better at this. So you think of a time. We're going to take like a halftime break or something, and then look and comment on the comments. Tonight we didn't get to them, and that's not something we
here
need
and
to
there.
do.
I mean, it's very tough to keep up. Even in a small channel like this, it's hard to keep up with that.
Well, but I mean,
some of them are comments, some are just.
Yeah,
there's like inter squad conversation. It's hard to really. I honestly, and I don't mean to be mean to people out there. I don't really look at it but I know that there's conversation between people, and I just kind of avoid it sometimes.
But like who said? Somebody said their mom, does the MEIDAS, however that's pronounced. Everybody pronounces it a different way.
Midas is Midas.
Channel.
Midas.
Midas.
Midas
That's,
touch,
that's
yeah.
the way it is, but it's not. And so I mean, that would be good because we were asking, kind of where do you turn for news, and that's something. So again, anyway, two things. Have a good week, everyone. And secondly, if you can let us know in whatever way, carrier pigeon, I don't care, which you would prefer for a Saturday or Sunday show, because soon we'll have the ability to do either one in a couple months.
And, yeah, a couple months. It's going to be very interesting, folks. When we get to July, this is going to be something different. And I'm afraid about myself because I think that I'll go all out with trying to make the show actually look, because I really like the technical aspects of things, but I haven't had a chance to do any of that.
But
I get involved in that. We'll change that. I'm not saying we're going to get more subscribers, but.
No, but you'll have time. I mean,
have time.
I think one thing, I'm going to speak for you because you're too humble. No, one of the things that I always laughed about teachers or people's view of teachers, man, I wish I had your job, 180 days a week. No, no teacher. At the end, I had it down pretty much as a science, but still, I spent more time working out of class than I did in class.
Yeah, it's murder, and it takes a toll on the body. And you're not just teaching; you're policing, you're analyzing things, and then you're dealing with you're not so much at war with the kids as you're at war with the administrators, because they're like the police who develop a relationship with the bad kids in the community, and they're kind of on their side because they don't want to have to deal with them, So
there you are. You ended it right there. They don't want to have to deal with them,
right?
And so they can.
That's
set
why
up
they
not to.
entertain the idea of becoming a non-teacher.
Cannot.
Right.
Yeah, we said that for
we have
years.
to deal with it, and that stress builds up. And if you think you can avoid it as a teacher, you may have honors classes or something like that. You might avoid some of it, but man, that's the one thing, Dave. And I don't mean this in any kind of way that you'll think that I didn't like teaching, but that's one thing I won't miss is having to deal with kids saying get out of my face and
and again,
it's very very exhausting.
We're talking tonight about time, like. What's Trump like today? What he's like? Time's different. I've been gone 15 years. I would never presume to tell what the school is like now. And I spent 20 years there. However, I will feel 100% confident in saying the job that you have today is much, much, much more difficult.
More
than the job I had
paperwork. I don't know if the kids. I don't think the kids
everywhere. It doesn't matter where it is. It's even if you take. For people who are not familiar, it went from a black school system to a Hispanic school system. And so now you have culture, you have language, you have all this other things. So it's just not an easy place to teach. However, neither is, I mean, there's all kinds of stresses. My grandchildren, we always laugh about Alabama, but I put Tuscaloosa Academy down there up against any school in America, any school. But they get the best of the best of the best of the best. And because they have a Mercedes-Benz plant there, they have an incredible number of Germans who bring the German discipline, to their schooling.
Engineering.
But there's problems there too, So anyway.
All right, Dave.
Brian,
thank you very much. Thank you, Dave. And
I'm glad that you found your distributor cap or whatever the hell you were looking for.
Yeah, it's this. Like I said, I had a problem with my battery because I let it go too long.
Brian, I don't want to say anything, but that looks suspiciously like a bomb. Are you sure it's not a bomb?
No, I'm sure it is. It's kind of nice, and I would suggest to anybody why these things are good, because you can get it for like $50 or less. The problem is you suppose jumping, you can ask somebody for a jump, but what if you're like, in the middle of nowhere, you need to be able to jump your car, and you can't always call AAA.
Oh my God, I never thought of that, Brian. I wondered. I used to ask these girls when I was young, "Can I jump you?" And I oh my God.
The wrong territory.
God, I'm sorry.
All right. Stop with your jumping. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say good night.
Sounds like a plan.